Good morning, friends. Welcome back to No Makeup Mondays. It is Monday, April the 3rd, which I can't even believe. And we are now less than 2 weeks away from Easter. And I'm feeling the excitement building up to that in a fresh way this year. So today, I didn't expect what I was going to be talking to you about, and I'm feeling hesitant to know how to proceed because uh, what I'm about to say could be offensive to some, and so uh, that makes me a little apprehensive. But I'm going to dive in anyway because you know me, that's what I do. Uh, a couple of days ago on Instagram, I noticed one of my friends had posted something talking about, well, I won't say exactly what it said, but the general gist of it, good morning, Audra, the general gist of it was that, good morning, Brooke, the general gist was that the universe is all for your happiness. And so if you make a decision or you do something and you feel better as a result of that, that's the universe's way of making you or affirming that you made a good decision, whatever. Okay, so we see memes and quotes and things like this all the time. I'm seeing them more and more often. Many people feel that that is very spiritual and talking about spirituality in those vague terms about, good morning, Susan and Geraldine, about the universe and the universe looking out for you and taking care of you and all of that. And I'm seeing it in a lot of places. I'm also seeing it a lot from people who claim some kind of Christian faith, okay? And if that's you and you're not sure what you believe and that's something you've explored, you are loved and welcomed, and I understand being at that place of trying to figure out this whole faith thing. So this isn't a judgment. However, I'm going to talk about this for a minute because it's become almost a hip thing for us to talk about and to think about. It's become cool, and I've noticed that people kind of flock toward those who are posting really feel-good messages on social media. We love anything that makes us feel good in the moment, and so those have become popular. Have you guys noticed some of this? Please tell me I'm not the only one. However, I believe those are very dangerous because it makes you feel good in the moment, but it does nothing at all to give you solid ground to stand on when life gets hard. So all of these nice feel-good memes and quotes and pictures and things that people are posting on Facebook and Instagram and everything like that, it may sound all nice and good when you read it. And sometimes we're moving so fast we blindly accept it and listen to it and receive it because it sounds all nice and good, but we don't stop to think for a moment. So this couple of days ago when I saw this particular meme talking about the universe and happiness and all of that, I want you to stop and think for a minute. The universe is not looking out for you. In fact, I would go so far to say the universe is conspired against you. If you haven't noticed, we are dealing with things like disease, rampant disease. We're dealing with unbelievable economic woes, political tensions. Just before I got on this Facebook Live, I heard news of another terrorist, or I don't know if it's a terrorist bombing, but there have been explosions in Russia in the subway system, and who knows the source of all of that. There is all kinds of poverty and famine and things going on. So the universe is not looking out for our happiness. The universe is not trying to make us feel good and feel happy. And when we share and post and talk about the universe looking out for our happiness, we are setting up people for tremendous despair. Okay, so for example, I'll just use my personal example. After having cancer 3 times and dealing with illness, so if I have a person right next to me who has been healed of cancer and illness, and then you have me who has dealt with it 3 times, and then somebody else, as I mentioned last week on last week's Facebook Live, who died from the very same cancer. What does this say about the universe here? If the universe is looking out for this person's healing but not mine and not this other, what does that mean? And do you see how this could lead people to feel incredible grief and despair and hopelessness about their own current condition? What about those people who were literally born into incredible poverty? Where was the universe for them and their happiness and all of this? I think sometimes we share these things innocently because they do sound positive and upbeat and they feel good for the moment, but we need to stop and think through this before we spout these messages. We've got to stop and think. First of all, it's a load of baloney. It is not true. The universe could care less about our happiness, all right? The universe could care less about giving us a comfortable life. So let's stop and think about this. And gosh, if you really think that this life is about our comfort and happiness, then I want you to stop and read the news today and actually step into the vast amounts of pain and suffering and grief that are all over the world. Just for a moment. It will go a long way to help us to realize that it's not all about us. And I know that's really not nice of me to say. It's just the truth. It's not about us. Hey there, Sharon. So it's interesting to me that this meme came up over the weekend. We are 2 weeks from Easter. The only what I would say the only counteraction to that kind of message, which is everywhere, is to get back to the truth of the gospel. The gospel is the only message I have found in my many years of struggle and suffering that gives me cement and solid ground to stand on. So what is the gospel? The gospel is simply, we're lost, we're hopelessly flawed. I know you already know this because you and me, chances are by noon today, we will be tempted to lose our marbles over somebody who's acting like an idiot, or to be vain or selfish or try to be self-promoting or all this, right? Okay, before noon today, I'm going to have an opportunity to show everyone around me how incredibly flawed I am. Okay, so we're lost, we're hopelessly flawed. Even on your best days, on my best days, my motives for being good are flawed. Okay, so think about this for a minute. Even when I am trying to be a really, really good person, why am I trying to be a really good person? It's to make everybody think that I'm a really good person. It's to impress people. It's to look really good and hopefully get good things to happen to me. I'm being really good because I want some kind of benefit from that. I want goodness to come back my way. Do you see at the core of that, even our goodness is motivated selfishly? And I'm not saying it's a bad thing to try to be a good person. I just want us to see that at our core, even our best offerings, our best attempts at being good, are motivated by, even subconsciously, by selfish ambition. Which is an interesting thought. So to sit there and admit that we're hopelessly flawed sounds like really bad news, and some people are going to be upset with me for saying that because I'm being negative, but it actually sets me free because I don't have to sit there and try to hide it anymore. Let's just call it what it is. I am hopelessly flawed, lost, sinful. I need help. I need somebody to help me. At the same time, we're also mortal. Okay? You and I are mortal. We are destined to die. I know, really bad news. It's really morbid for a Monday, right? We are destined for death. I have yet to meet anyone who's rich enough, attractive enough, powerful enough, with enough connections who can get out of this whole death problem, okay? I have yet to meet anyone who has enough money or enough talent or enough relationships or connections or whatever to escape death. We have a mortality problem. And by the way, let's go back to the universe for a moment. The universe has done nothing about that for us either. All right? So we're mortal, and this is what we talked about on Ash Wednesday. Putting ashes on our forehead is a reminder of our mortality. We are mortal at our core. So we're hopelessly flawed and lost and sinful. We are mortal, and we can't do a dang thing about it. We are destined to die. But there is a God. There is a real God, one true God, creator of the heavens and the earth, the creator of us, who saw our situation, who sees the fact that the universe is not looking out for us, who sees the fact that we are hopelessly lost and flawed and sinful, that we are destined for death, and no matter how hard we try to cure ourselves, we cannot cure ourselves of our mortality problem. And so he sent a man named Jesus who was fully God and fully man to exit heaven and enter our reality, to take on our situation, to step into this life and to accomplish what we could not accomplish. You see, God is 100% just. He is absolutely just, and he is absolutely 100% love. He's the only being that has perfect justice and perfect love together in the same being. Okay? Perfect justice. That means justice to have a reckoning for all things that are wrong and unjust, like the bombings that happened this morning. Perfect justice, and yet perfect love. And rather than making us pay the price for our own lostness, he gave Jesus to pay that. It's this beautiful combination of justice and love in one person, one man, one God. All right? And so he sent Jesus. Jesus came. Jesus, even though he had no flaws at all, he was not lost at all. He knew exactly who he was, what he was about. He knew it. And Jesus climbed up onto a cross, and he simply said, "It's finished. It's done. It's done. No more lostness. No more fear about death. No more worries about the next headlines and bad news that's coming. It's all done. It's finished. It's complete." So, the universe, my friend, is not looking out for you, but God is. He's already made a way. It's been done, but you and I have a choice. If you want to hang on to memes about the universe looking out for your happiness, you certainly can, because it feels good in the moment. But I'm telling you that it's not going to hold up when life gets hard. There's a verse in Hebrews 6:19 that says, we have this hope as the anchor of our soul. We have this hope as the anchor of your soul. I've grown up on boats. I've been on boats all my life. And one thing we know about a boat is that when we are out in the middle of the lake, especially if there's a good wind, we have to drop anchor. But the anchor doesn't do anything if we don't drop it deep enough. So we could throw the anchor over the side of our boat, but if we don't let it go deep enough and make sure it hits rock, it hits something solid to hang onto, it doesn't matter what we threw our anchor at. All right? So my question for you today is, have you thrown your anchor deep enough? There is only one thing strong enough to hold anchor in the reality of life. There is only one place deep enough, strong enough to hold anchor in your life. And these nice little feel-good quotes and memes about the universe aren't deep enough. I promise you. I promise you, they aren't. And if you don't go deep enough with your anchor, it's only a matter of time before you drown. It's only a matter of time before you drown. So this week, this is my challenge for you. I want you to think about what you're throwing your anchor at. It may be that you're throwing your anchor at your own abilities, your own talents, your own ability to work hard. I did that for decades, throwing my anchor at my own ability to work hard and build a good life and be a good person and all of that. Guess what? not deep enough. That anchor was only hanging onto water, and it was only a matter of time before I crashed. Maybe you're throwing your anchor at your roles as a parent or a spouse or a friend or whatever. And those things are so important to you that that's become what you're sinking your anchor into. My friend, it is just a matter of time before those things fall apart or don't hold. It won't be deep enough. Maybe your anchor is thrown into certain politics or certain leaders or certain people in powerful positions. Just in case you haven't noticed, that anchor is not deep enough. It's not deep enough. Okay? The only hope that's an anchor for our soul is the gospel. The fact that God saw our horrible condition, the fact that we were lost and unable to save ourselves. He sent himself in his son Jesus, fully man, fully God, to die on the cross, to pay the price for all of our flaws and our pain and our struggle, to accept death so that even though we will humanly die, we will live forever. That the temporary death will not hold us. That there is a whole life, a real life, a better life waiting for us on the other side of this. That is a deep enough place to hold our anchor. And my friends, this is what Lent and Easter, next Sunday is Palm Sunday, where we celebrate Jesus coming into Jerusalem, and then the week after that's Easter. This is what it's all about. This is why, if you've ever wondered why I can live after coming through cancer 3 times and parenting 6 kids now, how I can be at peace and have some measure of joy even in all the knowns, this is why. Because after so much struggle with my faith and so much searching for truth, I finally discovered the only anchor for my soul, and it is Jesus. And I don't apologize for it, and I'm not going to hide it. It's just the truth. So for those of you listening, if you don't know what you believe yet, I get it. I went through years not knowing if what I believed was really true or what I thought I believed was true. So if that's you, you're in good company. You're in good company. My challenge to you, though, is think, search, go on a quest to find the truth. Don't be satisfied with throwing your anchor in shallow places. Look for something deep enough to hold your anchor. It is worth your pursuit. It is worth your attention. It is worth your time. It is worth you giving your whole life's purpose to finding this. Because if it is true, if it is real, it will change everything for you in this life and the one to come. And to those of you who do believe, and Jesus is the anchor of your heart, my challenge to you is this week to be so aware of the lesser places you're throwing your anchor and to be ruthless with yourself about hanging on to the only hope that truly can anchor your soul. God, we love you with our whole hearts. God, we confess we don't know the truth all the time. We don't know all the answers. We can't make sense of all the questions. There's so much that we wrestle with. But, God, we believe you are God. We believe you are fully just and fully love. We believe that you saw our condition and that we couldn't save ourselves and that you sent Jesus to rescue us. And God, I am banking my whole life on that truth. Build up our faith, God. Build up our faith so that way it is utterly unshakable. In the name of Jesus, amen. Have a great week, friends. I might have gotten a little preachy today. Such is life. I love you. I'm so glad to do this life with you. Have a wonderful week.